Hello, I'm Paul and welcome to the next in this short series of videos from the4Ps.org, looking at the Bible verse from Jeremiah that says, "Seek and the peace and prosperity of places. Pray to the Lord for it, for when they prosper, you too will prosper." And people mean a whole raft of different things about prosperity. And so we're just putting together these short videos to kind of explore and look at what different organizations and people think of when they say the word prosperity. So it's my great pleasure to have my very good friend, Debra Green, from an amazing organization called Redeeming Our Communities. And I'm sure Debra will tell you all about what Redeeming Our Community is, and we'll put the website on the bottom as well. So Debra Green, who are you?
Very well, thank you. Nice and sunny here in Manchester. Yes, I'm Debra. I'm the founding director of Redeeming Our Communities, as you've just said, ROC. We call it ROC for short, ROC. 16 years old this year, so
Happy birthday.
We're hoping we survive this challenge of this period of time where some charities are struggling. But yeah, we're people of goodwill working together towards safer, kinder, stronger communities. And it's that partnership piece of getting everybody together that we are finding is such a key for unlocking communities. So we run these community engagement events. I know you've been to quite a number of them, Paul, in all over the country. We've done over 200 of these community engagement events where we bring everybody together under one roof, look at celebrating the good, then exploring where are the gaps in provision, and then action groups starting up to come up with solutions to community problems and work together on those solutions, very action focused. And we've got 60 of those groups now running in different communities, and we're just starting to see a real breakthrough in terms of what communities can do when they work together. So that's a bit about us.
Excellent. So communities working together very much is at the heart, not only of what you do, but I think is a key towards seeing community cohesion, community transformation, that partnership working. And one of the things that I know that you've modelled is this link between police, fire, NHS, local authorities, and church and community groups, which I don't think much of that really happened, probably going back 15, 20 years when you and I were both setting up ministries, organisations, working in that sphere. So how have you found that journey?
That was really interesting. I think you're right. Going back, say, 15, 20 years, there was very little that you could see in terms of these different spheres working together. People were very much seemed to be working in their own silo, in their own culture, in their own, and just not because necessarily they didn't want to work together, but I think the concept hadn't really been developed. How can the police work with the church? It wasn't something that people could automatically see a connection with. But as we started doing it, we began to see that there were so many areas of common ground and common interest. For example, we all want to see young people safe and, antisocial behaviour reduced. We all want to see the elderly, looked after and have friends and befriending and those kinds of projects which have come out as a result of working together in partnership. But it was quite a novel concept, and I think it was quite challenging for us as church to get our heads around it, because we work in our own silo as well. And we have our own, way of doing things, and we couldn't automatically see where the connection was. But through things like, and I do think Street Angels is one of the forerunners for us in the nation, and other organisations similar to Street Angels, has been a bit of a forerunner, because it's shown the authorities and the public services what is the value of working together on, and what is the impact on that. So ROC is a similar kind of genre to that, really.
Indeed, excellent. And I do remember coming to some of your very early prayer meetings that you held, where you invited the police of particularly Manchester at the time, because you're based in Manchester, and to see, I remember coming to one at the Wythenshawe Forum. I don't know how many years ago that was now, but just to see.
About 2008.
Wow, that's 12 years, goodness me. Just to see hundreds of police officers of all ranks and you know, from across the city coming to be prayed for by the church was such a powerful evening. I remember seeing some of the police officers in tears, some certainly comments that I overheard saying nobody's ever thanked us like this before. And obviously you put on a reception and a buffet, so it was, you know, the whole package of thanking and just saying we're behind it and we're with you. How important is that, not only in the peace and prosperity, but just in the witness and the value of the church in the place?
Yeah, I absolutely think it was the foundation, and it is the foundation of any work that we should be doing as church. It starts with, so often we find ourselves being critical, telling, you know, the public services, blaming them for what's gone wrong. We do it with the government as well. But actually saying thank you, those two simple words, is such a powerful, it changes the atmosphere, I believe, spiritually. And as you say, these police officers in tears, we did one at the Echo Arena in Liverpool in 2009, and we had 450 police officers at that one, and I interviewed the chief constable, and we asked the police officers to stand up. I think some of them were a bit embarrassed, but they got an ovation. People were applauding, people were in tears. We said thank you. We put thank you posters up in all the police stations in Manchester to say thank you for the work that you're doing, telling them that we were praying for them and praying for the peace and prosperity of the city. So it was prayer that really opened that door. And then we saw then that there could be this partnership. It could be more than prayer, but prayer was that powerful first step.
That's just an amazing testimony of again, a very simple act, something that churches probably do every time we meet, well, hopefully do every time we meet, is pray. Just taking it out of the box and actually offering prayer for police and other statutory bodies, I think is such a powerful statement. So physically praying for our police, certainly when we get back out of lockdown. And
yes, and I've written those stories up in a couple of books that we've written, City Changing Prayer and Mountain Moving Prayer. We've got the whole story of how we did it, as it were, and so there were some challenges to it, as well as some really powerful moments. And I think it has led to more of an openness now with people who work in public services being able to speak about their own faith and not keeping their faith completely private, which is what how it was before. So it has opened some doors for people in public services, and there's things like the Christian Police Association, as you know, there's Christian Ambulance Association, and there are people saying, I'm a Christian and it's an important part of my work.
Absolutely, I think that's been an amazing shift, because in a lot of, you know, religion is one of the things you don't talk about, whereas actually we're not talking religion, we're talking faith, and it's a faith that works. And I think things like ROC and Street Angels and food banks and Christians Against Poverty and all these other charities have proved that actually faith makes a massive difference and is a real force for good in communities, in society, in changing situations, in helping the most vulnerable, in getting alongside. And it's a great place to be. And yeah, so that's excellent. So anything else you want to leave us with as we journey on seeking and praying for the peace and prosperity of our different places? A couple of stories maybe?
Yeah, I think one of the stories that I like is that when we did the rock conversation in Burnley at the football club, which was a packed out event. It was only just before lockdown. One of the things was that they saw, as an action group, they saw that there was a massive issue around bereavement. A lot of people had lost a loved one to COVID-19 or to another illness that happened to happen in that period of time, and bereavement has significantly changed in terms of how we can mourn our loved ones, or the things that we've lost. We might have lost hope, or we might have lost a job. It wasn't just loss of a person. And they the action group got together with an organisation called At a Loss to set up a bereavement counselling service for young people, because there were services for adults, but there wasn't anything bespoke for young people. And that was great. And then in Weston-super-Mare, the action group there have they've developed a whole Corona kindness thing, where all the churches across Weston-super-Mare have been posting cards through letterboxes around every community, offering things like food delivery, picking up prescriptions, someone to talk to on the phone. And it's been brilliant. I think what's been brilliant about it is the coordination. The action group have done a really good job of pulling that whole service together and signposting people to, and they've just now, from the council is so impressed with what the ROC Action Group in Weston-super-Mare have done, that they've funded them to start one of our ROC mentoring services, which is going to start in the autumn. And we do it as a telephone mentoring to get around the fact that obviously we can't, sometimes we can't go into people's homes, so it's set up a whole new project. So I think these action groups are looking really at what's needed in the community, how can we respond, and building up those trusted relationships with the partner agencies.
Indeed, key there, I think, is what is needed in the community. And often, as a church, we presume we know what is needed in the community. But it's only when you actually go and talk to the police, to the local authority, to different agencies, you find out what is really, truly needed in the community, not what is perceived as needed in the community.
Yeah, and that verse that you quoted, seek the peace and prosperity of the city, we assume the seek the peace and prosperity is to do with, possibly to do with prayer, as we're seeking God for the peace and prosperity. And of course it is to do with prayer, as we just said, but it's also to do with research and finding out what's going on in that place, like you say, because we can't assume that we know what the community needs as church. I think we make that mistake. And we need to really ask that question of the community and of those agencies. And then we've got a better project because we've got the ownership from across the community. So I think the seeking is about seeking, asking, yes, praying, but also asking the right questions to the right people.
Indeed, and Redeeming Our Communities ROC can help you do that. The ROC conversation events are brilliant. I've been to a few of them now in various parts of the country, and it just brings together people that are interested and value and are seeking the peace and prosperity of the place where they are, and kind of puts some action and some flesh on the bones, I suppose is a good way of describing it. So Deborah, thank you very much. I think that's given lots of tools and resources that people can just go away and get involved in their communities, pray for the police, chat to the police and other agencies, and let's believe that there'll be this worldwide movement of Christians who are involved in seeking and praying for the peace and prosperity of the place where they are, whether it's a village, a street, a city, a town, a region, or indeed a nation. So thank you very much, Deborah.
Thanks, Paul.
Brilliant. Thank you.